Good afternoon, everybody. Oh yeah, this is working for sure. Jeez. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for today's session, Regional Prosperity and Placemaking Opportunities for Collaboration in the Tourism and the Arts. My name is Matthew Anderson. I'm Arts and Education Director for the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and I'm thrilled to moderate this discussion featuring three incredible initiatives that showcase the intersection of arts, community engagement, and tourism here in North Dakota. Is the mic catching everything I'm saying? Okay, cool. Placemaking is about more than creating spaces. It's about telling the stories of our regions, celebrating cultural heritage, and driving community pride and economic growth. Today we'll hear from three leaders who are at the forefront of their work. They'll share their experiences and insights, followed by a discussion where we'll explore the opportunities and challenges of these kinds of collaborations. And let me introduce our first speaker. Rhea Beto is our Public Information Officer for North Dakota Council on the Arts. Rhea will be discussing Arts Across the Prairie, Placemaking in rural North Dakota, a pioneering statewide public art program. This initiative is a first of its kind for North Dakota, aiming to create 8 large-scale public artworks, one in each geographic region of the state, that reflect the unique history, landscape, and cultural heritage of each area. Rhea, we're excited to hear more.
Thank you, Matthew. Yes, so I am the communications person for the Council on the Arts. My role is to help promote and publicize and do all the social media and website for all of our different programs. But this is one of the biggest programs that we have. We actually just launched a brand new website for it. So let me show you the main brand that we came up with, the Good Kids in Bismarck. So Arts Across the Prairie, like he said, is a placemaking program that will put 8 huge, large installations in the 8 regions of North Dakota. They each will be unique to the heritage and culture of those regions. So we'll go to the next slide. So if you haven't seen the region map 100 million times, there it is. And it doesn't go left to right on both sides, right? It kind of wraps around. So we are in Region 8, and above us is Region 1. So in those 8 regions, there are distinct cultures, heritage, people, landscapes, wildlife, and together, the community comes together to make this program. So what is placemaking? Well, after being here at this conference now, almost every session I've been to has talked about placemaking. And I don't think any of us really knew what it was until you start to think about all the things you come across and drive by, whether it's Salem Sioux or it's the Enchanted Highway. Those are all things that put that place on the map. And it's not just a random artwork. It's an artwork or a piece of sculpture that represents that community. So it brings people together where they live, where they work, where you visit. It's an experience. And it's also about the past and present and future. So you're looking at how to make your community have prosperity, right, over time. So defining cultural assets, which ironically, across the hall, they're asset mapping. So they're going deep into defining those assets of your community. But what we do through this program, and it's a big deal, so we call them stakeholder groups. So they're formed in each of those regions. We get community leaders in arts, education, business, the CVBs of those communities. They come together and meet online, thanks to Zoom and all the wonders of technology. They can research and talk about their regions, the history, how the land was formed, what kind of wind and wildlife, the different settlers that have come and gone, the different things they're mining or growing on the land. That's what how we begin each of these projects. It's the stakeholders are the bedrock of these projects. They come together and decide what do they want to see in their community that represents their community the best. And these are all volunteers people willing to give their time and help with their ideas. And they put in efforts too. They go out to the different sites and research up and look at the land and see what opportunities might exist. Talking to landowners, talking to businesses, and seeing where they can all come together. So in the project phases, defining the cultural assets is the biggest and the most time consuming, as you can imagine. We have historians that come on the calls and talk about the areas. We have storytellers, indigenous storytellers, Native American artists that come and know the histories of their communities and populations. So it's really important that everyone is represented and has a voice, but in the end they have to come all of them decide together what their sub-theme will be, because there's 8 regions of North Dakota. You would think it's all North Dakota, we're all the same. They're all very unique. So the next step then, I'll show you these are the 5 regions of North Dakota have already come to that stage. They've recruited stakeholders, they've researched, they've defined their theme, and they've already requested artist proposals and selected artists. So now I challenge you to look at the themes that are under each of the regions. So for example, Region 1, R1, they titled it Love Where You Live. And some of the themes that came up were prairie, settlers, weather, lake, sky, wind. So the artwork they selected, it is going to really focus on the sky and the prairies and the open wind that comes through, and just how you can kind of travel through that artwork. It's also going to be made up of the native prairie grasslands. So if you look at each of the regions, you can see Region 2, again, it's about they talked about the migratory life because of the prairie potholes that were created by the glaciers that went through North Dakota and left little deposits of water. And so that's a feather to represent the migratory life that comes through to use those wetlands. So you'll see each one, and all of these now are renderings, right? What happens in the next phases of these projects will definitely change what the final product will look like. But they're all very unique. They all represent different themes for those communities. So we are so excited to see what happens next, but we're also finding, lots of challenges along the way. So a lot of funding things have to be happening, and as an arts council, a state agency, we just can't go around asking for money. So it's a matter of working with lots of businesses, having people that are willing to come up and help us through that process. So it's going to be exciting. We just traveled out to Region 8 yesterday on a bus, and so you can't quite see, the pictures are small, but those are some badlands behind the Hoodoo Herd is the name of their project. So, but just, it's right off the interstate, and I imagine that will get a lot of people will want to see that. All right, so the next phase, talking about the economic and social impact. So when we worked with the Good Kids to come up with this brand and this theme, we spent a lot of time. We surveyed people and had them answer questions about placemaking and what would make them be interested in who is our target audience. So who we came up with, the 2 groups, the empty nesters, the working mothers. We talked about, we found out it would be people that are working full time, some have children, but they're willing to drive those 3 to 4 hours across North Dakota to go see some of these amazing artworks. We are, another challenge and something we're working on is almost making it a tour. So as you're driving towards these different regions in North Dakota, what are some stops you can make along the way? Maybe make a scavenger hunt out of it where they can stop and get an ice cream in Garrison and then go on to the next stop. So it's definitely a very long project. I'm excited about it, as you can see, but just to see what happens. I hope you guys got a pop-it that we were passing out at the front door. I mean, we want to get people engaged, but we want it to be not just something you see. When you come up on this artwork, we want to have a little 3D model there for someone if you want to touch it. Say you've got some impaired vision, or the children want to check it out. There'll be a QR code so you can go to the website and learn more about it. You can post your picture on social media. So there's just a lot of opportunities, but hopefully, this will really catch attention. And remember, this is the first in the world, the whole state of North Dakota, to have an artwork for each region representing the culture and the history of those people. That's the biggest thing. So, and the goals are all written there too: foster creative cross-country networking, building stronger communities, celebrating our heritage, promoting tourism, and stimulating economic growth. So we want to watch North Dakota grow. And so there you go. If you don't want to type in the very long website address, you can hold your phone up and that'll take you to the brand new website. It's got the pictures of all these different, renderings that we have that, it's going to come close to what they look like. So, and then you can learn more about the project. So, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Rhea. Our next speaker is Amy McCann, Director of Community Relations at the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library and Museum. As one of the state's most anticipated cultural landmarks, this project represents a major investment in placemaking and heritage tourism. Amy will share insights on how the library is positioning itself as both a community hub and destination, blending history with innovative storytelling to attract visitors from across the country. Amy, it's all yours.
Oh, you just turned it on for me. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm excited to discuss how community engagement and placemaking can transform destinations with a particular focus on Western North Dakota. I'll outline our approach, especially in relation to the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library. Through thoughtful planning and collaboration, we can truly enhance our communities. I am a long-term resident in Medora and have gotten to experience a lot of wonderful things, so I'm hoping to share that with you today. So let's begin with our design approach of the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library. We worked really closely with the architectural firms to emphasize preserving the local way of life and enhancing the area's natural beauty. Snøhetta's design perfectly integrates with the surrounding landscape of National Park and Forest Service lands. The library's roof rises from the earth, aligning with the distant horizon and reflecting the natural terrain. This design not only resonates with the community's appreciation for the region's rugged beauty, but also features a roof adorned with locally grown native plants, showcasing our commitment to ecological enhancement. This design philosophy illustrates an alignment with the reflection of community values, and also it highlights, that's highlighted in the Billings County Comprehensive Plan. I see our Billings County Planning and Zoning person is here, so she will correct me if I make a mistake. But in that plan, there's several statements that I feel like our project aligns with. So one of those is protecting the natural beauty and preserving of land through proper reclamation and restoration of natural landscape. That's what we will be doing on the 26 acres that have been disturbed already. And then ensuring that development conforms to the existing natural landscape and preserving and protecting the aesthetic values of the county's environment. So I think that this building definitely represents all of those. Moving forward, it's essential to highlight how community engagement shaped our placemaking efforts. Through the Medora area planning process, I see Scott is here, thank you. Residents defined their values and priorities, which guided our decisions. This engagement offered valuable insight into the region's unique qualities and areas for improvement, ensuring the tourism development aligns with local values and fosters community pride. Additionally, we shared our concepts with the zoning boards before seeking final approval, further integrating community input into the planning process. In Medora, 3 architectural firms, including Snøhetta, engaged deeply with the community to capture its essence, love of natural beauty and Western heritage. The Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library design, with the wood cladding, the prairie roof, and the panoramic views, reflects this connection. By sharing plans with our trustees and locals at that time, we ensured the project resonated with the Medora spirit. This collaboration exemplifies community-driven placemaking, blending development with respect for local traditions and landscapes, creating a space that truly connects with the Medora's unique character. The Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library exemplifies placemaking by seamlessly integrating with its surroundings and serving as a hub that connects visitors to regional and national attractions and natural spaces. The library features a boardwalk linking to the Mattahay Trail, which connects to the Theodore Roosevelt National Park, Sully Creek State Park, and the Buffalo Gap Trail. Future trails developed by the state and Billings County will extend from the Medora Musical down to the Chateau Historic Site, then to the city of Medora, and south along East River Road to Sully Creek State Park, creating a scenic loop for pedestrians. Additionally, the library will connect people virtually beyond its walls and beyond North Dakota. So, for example, exhibits will allow visitors to experience life as Theodore Roosevelt did, connecting them to the world. One such exhibit focuses on the Rough Riders and explores significant historic sites like Tampa Bay Port and Kettle Hill in Cuba. This is just one of many ways that the library is connecting local stories to the global stage. So as we consider the library's role in placemaking, we must also recognize the importance of collaboration with local businesses and tourism boards. These partnerships enhance the overall appeal of our region. Businesses provide authentic experiences, while tourism boards market these experiences. By working together on marketing campaigns, on joint packages, and on events, we can attract more visitors to Western North Dakota. For example, the library and the Medora Foundation are collaborating with leaders in Western group travel to attract tour groups. We've developed a sample tour including Minot, Bismarck, Mandan, tribal tourism in Newtown, Watford City, and Medora. By targeting groups visiting Mount Rushmore and Yellowstone, we aim to capitalize on the rebounding trend of bus traffic post-pandemic. Positioning North Dakota within the TR Triangle alongside Yellowstone and Mount Rushmore can establish us as a key destination as the trend continues. We are also planning a group tour conference in the coming years to advance these concepts and invite tourism groups to participate. While these partnerships are crucial, we must also address the challenges of tourism growth. Key considerations includes balancing accommodation demands with affordable employee housing, managing local impacts, and ensuring equitable distribution of benefits. In Medora, spatial constraints due to protected lands require collaboration with local communities. We can expand the capacity at Sully Creek State Park and the Medora Campground to accommodate for more visitors, but we're going to need those additional hotels that are in Dickinson and Watford City. So all of this would encourage longer stays and deeper exploration in our region. So in conclusion, community engagement and thoughtful placemaking are vital for creating vibrant, sustainable destinations. By involving residents and collaborating with our local businesses and tourism boards and addressing these challenges with innovative ideas, we can develop places that attract visitors and enrich the unique character of our communities. I've had a lot of great opportunities to interact with a variety of groups while I've been working with the library, and I just want to pay special thanks to those people that have been very supportive, organizations that's been very supportive of the library as well. Those are state agencies, our legislatures, the citizens of North Dakota are going to be so proud of this library. The Southwest Developers Group is amazing to work with. Bowman County Development, have been learning more about, and the Roosevelt Custer Regional Council are amazing people that I hope that Medora takes those opportunities and runs with them. Billings County, and of course all of our surrounding cities as well. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I look forward to having more discussions to advance these efforts in Western North Dakota.
Thank you, Amy. Our final speaker is Cole Garmen, who leads outreach and engagement for North Dakota Parks. Cole will be highlighting the North Dakota Parks Artists in Residence program, which recently celebrated over 10 years of fostering connections between artists and our state parks. This program has given artists a platform to create in some of North Dakota's most beautiful landscapes, while also providing opportunities for public engagement through workshops, exhibits, and other community events. Cole, we're excited to learn more.
Hello, there we go. Yes, hello. Would like to begin with our department's mission statement because I feel like it fits here, and that's enriching generations through experiences that connect people and places. And the Artist in Residency program is just one of those experiences that we like to highlight here. All right, yeah, so as it was stated, over 10 years, coming up on 15, I believe, this year, of the Artist in Residency program. And this program has hosted over 38 artists in the parks at 9 of our state parks. And the program is really designed to capture the beauty of the park, what the park represents in art is displayed through all the different artists' style. When they come to the park, they're set up with a campsite or whatever accommodation that they see fit, and they take the time to draw inspiration from the lands, from the park, and create an art piece or multiple pieces in their style. So the program is made possible through North Dakota Council on the Arts through a grant program, and from there, artists apply to our department for consideration, and we try to pose them in a geographical area that is conducive to their work. For example, kind of a new art style, but light art, I believe, is what they call it at Cross Ranch. Because zero light pollution. Very, very dark. So that was a recent artist that we had out at the parks, and just goes to show the different types of art that can be created through the inspiration of our parks. Some rules, of course. The artists that join us for this program, they are required to be residents of North Dakota. While they're out at the parks, they do a minimum of 2 on-site presentations, and that's that involvement piece that's That's getting the park visitors, that's getting the residents of the gateway communities adjacent to the parks out to the parks to observe and interact with the artist and learn from them and kind of learn the artist's skills, methods, other tools. And my favorite, because I get to look at them, during the artist in residency, during the residency, they are required to donate a piece of art to that park, and you know, that's showcased for visitors year-round in the visitor centers. And then something cool that we had the opportunity to do during the last legislative session was kind of kick off our traveling exhibit, and that was comprised of 33 artists' pieces on display at the top floor of the Capitol. So to kick that off, we had legislators come up and just typical gallery, I guess, you know, walk through. A lot of the artists that had created art that was in the gallery were present and got to interact. You know, it was pretty cool to see the legislators kind of learn the artists that they have in their districts and stuff like that, and see the art that they created within the park. So that was kind of the kickoff of our traveling exhibit. And then from there, it was showcased in Bismarck, Watford City, Williston, and Minot. And then following the last display, all of those pieces moved back to the parks, which they're home. So that is what I have for that, the Artist in Residency program. But just to add on top of that, you know, that's just one of the many experiences that we have throughout the parks, throughout our system. 13 state parks, we host over 100 events every year, and a lot of those, you know, they touch on art, you know, whether it's, you know, making a fishing rod at Lake Metagoshi or making a s'more at Fort Stevenson. You know, it's a good thing that art is subjective, because we can call a lot of things art that we do within the park. So just huge draws for people, you know, from out of state, out of country. We have over 1.2 million people that come through the system to your state parks, because we are all owners of the parks. So just wanted to highlight that as a closer there.
Thank you, Cole. Now that we've heard from our speakers, just to go a little bit deeper into the conversation, we'll explore some more themes that have emerged, focus on collaboration, sustainability, and community impact. So question to Rhea. You mentioned the challenge of creating art that reflects the distinct identity of each region. How do you ensure that each piece truly resonates with local communities while still contributing to a broader statewide vision?
Yes. So, you know, you think about every month people come together, and it's really important to our program that we don't just have people in the urban, if you can call that urban in North Dakota, the cities. We want to get people from every area, from the different areas of each county, and make sure every county is represented. Then we want to make sure that the demographic of that county is also represented. But then you want people that are passionate about the work that we're doing and willing to get their hands dirty and show up every month. So, but it isn't, it's definitely looking at the goals of the program as a whole. So every region has the same goals and it is following the same process. But then in the end, it's those stakeholders that come together. And believe me, even each of those individuals is very passionate about what they want for that artwork. So we all have to collaborate and come together and all be proud of it. So it is definitely, you know, it would be so much easier for just our arts council to pick our favorite artist because we know they can get it done, or we like that piece, or we think it's more art, right? But it's more important that the community loves the work that's up in their community, because they're going to bring their family and friends, and they're going to tell their family and friends, and it will go on from there. So it is a huge project. We are definitely in over our heads, but we can't wait, and it's coming along. There's a website now, so we're excited. Yes. Sure. So Lieutenant Governor Tammy Miller asked me how the funding works. And I don't know how many of you remember, this program started before I started with the council. So our first executive director, Kim Conoco, went to the legislature with this huge idea, and they said, you know what, we love it. We think it would be amazing to be the first statewide program to have 8 artworks. So they gave our council $1 million for the maintenance of these pieces. That happens after the artworks are all installed, right? I get it. It's to tell people we back it, so now we need people on the front end to get the money to get this program going. So then we started working with the granting agencies we work with. So the National Endowment for the Arts has programs, our Arts Midwest has programs. We actually got money to create a placemaking workshop, which some of that money is actually funding today's or this week's convening, because that's the money we gave to the summit, and it's to help get the word out and get people, and that's why I'm presenting. So it's reaching out and getting that funding. We're also exploring, so the Council on the Arts has an endowment fund. The legislature set this up for us a long time ago as well, and that fund is, we are supposed to use it to preserve arts and culture in North Dakota. But just like any endowment fund, it's very strict on how you can use the funds. We're still exploring that, because this program happened after the endowment fund was created. So it's a lot of work. It's all about getting stakeholders. I'm actually not the perfect person to ask for about funding. I'm more on the marketing and branding and communication side of things, but we are working on that. You can believe it. We're really trying our best to figure out the best way, that's not legal, but you know what I mean, the way through when you're talking a government agency. Sure, so Tammy asked about timing. Actually, our very first artist that was selected is in the room, Thane Lund. He's gonna be doing, yes, very much so. He's from the Crosby area, so it's so wonderful we can support a North Dakota native. But he's gonna be doing the artwork that I showed earlier, at least with that in mind. We had a hard time with figuring out the land, this site that we were gonna install. But I think we are at the point now we have the site, and so he's been working with engineers and talking to the landowner and figuring out the next steps. So we're really, some of the other regions, there's 5 of them if you noticed. There's 5 that have artists and renderings. We're hoping by this coming spring, some of those will start to really, we're gonna hold community events where people come together and help to make the pieces that go into the artworks. So those workshops will start to happen this coming spring and summer in those different regions. It's gonna be a lot happening all at once. I tell you, watch the website. I will be putting the events and the places. You can join us. We wanna get as many people involved as possible. Did you have one more question? Right, so the goal has all along been keep these pieces up and keep them looking amazing for 100 years. That's the start. I mean, forever would be great, but we all know North Dakota and what the land and everything can do. I've been listening to the artists as they talk about their pieces. They're actually making them with the idea that over time they will erode and change and become a part of the land, and almost like you think one day the aliens put them there, right? Because they belong here, and they're made with the clay and the dirt that's here in North Dakota. So it's about preserving who we are, staying who we are, but making it last as long as we can. So the Arts Council is responsible for the funds that were given for maintenance of these pieces. Yes, it will always be incumbent on us to keep it going. So always keep the Arts Council around too. Yes. Right. So yeah, so it was asked how do we select the sites for these Arts Across the Prairie projects? And so the stakeholders, these amazing people, live in these communities and they know what's out their backyards. So they come together and they travel in their cars and go check out these sites and take pictures and share it with the group and talk about what's there and is it possible and how would, the snow fences around it take care of the artwork or, whatever it may be. But they choose the site. But then you might have 5 sites and then you talk to the landowners and it's not going to work on your favorite one, so you move on to the next one, and it is quite a process.
I'd like to add to that. So I know the art piece that is going up in our area. I know I've talked with our county, and I'm like, even though it's not in our county, it's in the next county over. I was still, interested because it's going on Forest Service land. The Forest Service is going to do a beautiful parking lot and a little trail to it. But then in my mind, I was like, how can we connect to the Buffalo Gap Trail? And then that connects to all the others. And so I've been, just as a community person, being really interested in that, wanting to say, hey, let's make sure that we add this little piece too. It's not up to them, but it's up to us to try and push for that.
Love the conversation. Any other questions? Amy, similar question to you. As a project with a national profile, how does the library strike a balance between serving local community needs and attracting broader audiences?
All right, thank you. Attracting broader audiences, I feel like, is easy because we have Theodore Roosevelt in our backyard. So we are already connected to Theodore Roosevelt National Park, and that already has a national significance to it, and visitors come from all around to that national park. We also have the Maahee Trail that has attracted new visitors to the area, and we are just another thing that people can come and see. But with Theodore Roosevelt, with the Presidential Library, we're not just telling Theodore Roosevelt one part of Theodore Roosevelt's story. We're telling his story from cradle to grave. And in every chapter of his life that we're telling, we are connecting people to the world, to those places. So if you live in, what I love about Joe Wiegand, if you don't know him, a Theodore Roosevelt impersonator in Medora, whenever he talks to someone, he always finds out where they live first, and then he's able to connect Theodore Roosevelt to that place. And so TR is touched more than just the 50 states. He has a global presence and is loved by a lot of people. And so the library we're not just about ourselves. We're about how can we connect everyone to this place, but then take this place and connect everyone outward too. So as you go through and you're experiencing the library and you're going through the exhibits, like I had mentioned with the Rough Riders, and all of those exhibits will have like a QR code or a way to connect you to that location, to that place. And you'll learn more, and those places will be connected to us as well. And so we'll be attracting a new type of visitor, not just the visitor that's coming to the national park or the visitor that's coming to the Medora musical. We're attracting another audience, people that love American history, people that love conservation, any of Theodore Roosevelt's political wins will attract those people. And we have already. We've already started to attract those people. And not just, this is not just about Theodore Roosevelt too, but it's also about how we've been building this building. And it's a state-of-the-art, world-class, the highest sustainability building that people will come just to learn about that structure itself. It's beautiful and it's amazing to watch, and it'll have its own story, the construction, the connections to all of the local contractors, the new things that our local contractors is learning too. It's such a source of pride for all of them. And so, part of our attracting the global audience is easy, but part of helping our local communities is using them as much as we can in this process. And so we've challenged ourselves to say, where is a contractor for this type of work? Can we find the contractor locally? Are they within a 50-mile radius of the site? If we can't find a contractor within a 50-mile radius, then we go out to a 100-mile radius. Can we find them? And we keep challenging ourselves to find those and to work with them, and then keep going out until we get that. With the wood cladding, there's not a lot of wood in North Dakota, so that had to go a little bit farther out of North Dakota. But it's amazing for me to see all of the local contractors, and even if there's a contractor that's outside that radius, they're still subcontracting with locals, so they are learning. And it's just, it warms my heart to see the pride that they all have in that project. And the other way, that we have to collaborate with other communities. I think about, we have a 300-seat auditorium, but in the city of Medora, we only have 450 rooms. And so, those people have to stay somewhere, and those rooms are already over 90% at capacity with just our tourism. So whenever we think about having conferences, those people have got to stay somewhere too. And like I said before, Medora is landlocked, so we have to rely on our surrounding communities for some of those accommodations. And I know that the surrounding communities get a lot of accommodations, and sometimes it's more affordable to stay in Dickinson than it is in Medora. And so I think you'll see more of that happening. There's a lot of groups. We've already been getting requests for conferences that are beyond what we can handle. And so if we can push those conferences to a surrounding city and they can come to the library as one of their stops or tours, that's great. But it's going to attract a lot of different types of people and visitors. So. It is a big project. Hey, yeah. We have this at the beginning of the summer. We hired our chief of communications officer, and so we still are working on our operations plan that's going to be coming out here soon, and with that operations plan, there's a diagram, a schedule of when staff are going to come on. So we're making decisions on who's the staff that we need to come on early before the building is complete, and which is the staff that will come on a little bit later. So we've been working on that this year, that operation plan, to say who's coming on when. And then that will start to be put in place this next year. We've already started hiring some more staff, so it is a process of bringing in more. We're going to have an overlap of construction type of staff and operations staff. So we're looking at what that would look like too. So yes, we haven't hired we've hired some marketing firms. We've hired a couple of marketing firms, but now that we have a chief of communications officer, he will be the one that goes and starts hiring those positions. Yeah. Artwork. Right. Side. Right. I haven't heard of any of those efforts quite yet. You know, we will have a temporary gallery. It's fairly large, so I imagine that there will be opportunities in those spaces. As for art around the building, we just haven't gotten there yet. So we're, just to give you an idea of where we are in construction, so we started moving earth last June, and we will have the building, we'll have the structure, the steel beams and the wood will be done, and the roof will be done by the end of November, and we'll start to enclose it to start being able to work inside. And then we still have a target date of July 4th of 2026. So I think that as we get more staff on, because we haven't talked about FF&E or the furniture and furnishings quite yet, that is in our future to come up, but I'm sure that that will come up whenever we start to plan for the furnishings.
For Amy? Thank you. Cole, question for you. The Artist in Residence program has spanned over a decade now. What have you found to be most effective in maintaining both artist interest and public engagement year after year?
Yeah, I think collaboration's a big piece of that, and particularly the collaboration that's built into the program itself, and that would be the two public exhibits that are required by the program, where the public can interact with the artist. I think that's very helpful in you know, leaving a lasting impression on those that are in the parks, either there to actually engage or they just happen to be there. But I've got a lot of feedback on that just from visitors being able to experience that. And then collaboration with Council on the Arts, I think that's super helpful, being that, you know, the artists need to be from North Dakota. So kind of driving that push to get the artists to apply for this opportunity, super helpful on that. And then just the internal collaboration through programs that we already do. We've hosted thousands and thousands of students in the parks through a partnership with DPI. So having the next generation walk through the visitor centers and learn about the art pieces that were created, you know, that's not measurable yet, but I'm hopeful that those types of programs are going to lead to, you know, long-term success of artist in residency.
Any questions from the audience for any of our panelists?
Yeah. How are we promoting it was the question from the Lieutenant Governor. You know, a big push just recently was our exhibition in the Capitol and traveling with the pieces. But beyond that, you know, we have a team of interpreters that, oh, there we go. That might not have been on. We have a team of interpreters that, you know, once the art piece is complete, you know, it's on them to then tell the story. You know, so when visitors go through the park, we have a team that can discuss these pieces and what they mean, the significance of the area, where they drew the inspiration from. So kind of twofold there, that we bring it to the people through the exhibition, unsure on plans moving forward with that type of initiative, but then the other side of that being internally, when visitors come through the parks, they have the opportunity to learn about it like that.
I've helped quite a bit to help promote the artist in residency as well, working for North Dakota Council on the Arts. So they have a beautiful website they created that or web page that showcases the different artworks. It shows their pictures, it talks about the artists, and then they all have their own Facebook pages for all the different parks. And so they'll promote when a workshop is happening, when an artist is coming. I'll share it on the NDCA page. Like online is such a big thing now, so we almost don't even think about print anymore. But yeah, stay tuned, pay attention to some of those sites, and you can be a part of them. They're all free except for the entrance to the park. So we want you all to be a part of it and enjoy these workshops, whether it be pottery making, basket weaving, painting. These artists are amazing, and art is so much more than what you imagine it to be. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say that that's a big piece of it is the website, and seeing before you're even at the park, you can see that the art piece is there. So I would say that that's probably our biggest promotion of it is this is the art, this is the artist, and this is the park in which it's located. But yeah, we could probably do a better job at promoting that the art is here, and please come take a look. Yeah, that's a great question. I am not on the committee that chooses that. I believe there are preferences from the artist where they'd like to work. Maxine, guest appearance. So they kind of wait until maybe their park that they'd like to work in is open for application, would be the more, yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, there's a whole series on the artists and the art that we have on our website. So I had it as part of the presentation, but limited capabilities here. So I do recommend to go check out those videos. They're very, very cool.
Any other questions? I see we're just about out of time, which actually I had to write a question to Rhea. What time are we done? I lost track. So thank you to Rhea, Amy, and Cole for sharing your insights and experience. Thank you.